Today, I'm super thrilled to bring on board Dhanapathy. He is the most hardworking and inspiring leader I have got the opportunity to work with. And in a minute, I'll introduce him to you and get this fireside chat started. I know a lot of you are looking forward to it. I have got so many DMs for this, and we can't be more excited. Hey, hi, Dhana.
Hey Kritika, how are you doing? Great to be here.
Let me introduce you that we have on board Dhana, and I'm super psyched to have him here with us. He has had an inspirational journey to becoming the principal engineer in Intel. Many words can be used to describe Dhana, like engineer, innovator, leader. But my favorite are most hardworking, intuitive, as well as inspiring. Dhana has a decorated semiconductor career in physical design for over 18 years now, and he has successfully taped in 25 plus SoCs, quite complex SoCs in various applications. So, welcome, Dhana. Let's start our discussion with a question. What is one thing about you that is not on LinkedIn profile?
So I want to start with two things. The first thing is, of course, I come from Tamil. I have a lot of pride about our own mother tongue. So, and the second thing I wanted to just say about is, first thing is probably I just said that God. Second one is உள்ளுவதெல்லாம் உயர்வுள்ளல். மற்றது தள்ளினும் தள்ளாமை தீர்த்தல், which means you have a greater intention and the noble intention. It teaches to the places. And I see this initiative from you as one of such. It is we as an technical leaders has to give a lot back and inspire generations. And I really congratulate and thank you and as well as appreciate for doing it. So first, let me start with that. Yes. To answer your question, something which is not in the LinkedIn is I'm so passionate about the DNI, right? So I'm a core committee member, been kind of part of this, the DNI for at least for 2-3 years. I did a lot of events around it for inspiring young women engineers. So that's fundamentally, I'm an advocate of DNI. Number two, I'm trying to give back to the young engineering community. So I'm part of this VLSI 2022 conference, and I will be like one of the session chair and track chair for VDAT 2022. So something like I love to always give back. This inspires from latest Jim Keller. I was having a conversation with him saying that, hey, you go a lot of places and you talk to it, right? So what really inspires? Because he's a legend. So we all look forward such a tall leader and stalwart. He says, the more I interact, more I learn from others. That was a surprising fact to me. So basically, more you go back, more you get, right? At his years of experience, his expertise. So I do that in terms of leadership. I spend a lot of time with my mentees, and maybe I'm so proud. Maybe I'm so proud that you're a mentee and you're doing so wonderful in the technical period, and you're doing so great in the LinkedIn Innovators platform. And so three things. So the DNI. So I'm probably contributing to VLSI and VDAT. I wanted to do many more for the technical community and as well as students. And I'm doing a mentoring. I love to do that. Just not because of that. I'm giving back. I'm learning from them.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. I am aware about your initiatives on DNI, and I can say that somebody who has been observing this, those initiatives are having a lot of impact. I see a lot of younger females and my peers who get so excited for the journey in semiconductors now, who are seriously thinking about grooming themselves into future leaders, both in technical as well as in management domains. So very impactful work.
We have a lot together to do. I think I wanted to see women engineers, specifically the technical leaders, and as well as in the educational side as well. So more PhD students. I wanted to see more of them. Yeah.
So Dhana, for our audience, can you please tell what is DNI?
Okay, great. So the DNI, okay, I would just probably also talk a lot specifically about the women in the technical leadership, and maybe I'm just giving a precursor. I'll be leading one of the sessions in it, but it has been largely misunderstood that the diversity is all about just women. Maybe from the origin that we come from, and then for gender equality we do it, but the diversity is a lot more than. So it is LGBTI, it's gender, and it includes probably the physically challenged folks. So it's as good as we have to go beyond the lenses of a gender, go beyond the lenses of a physically challenged, go beyond in terms of an experience, go beyond in terms of an age, and see everybody as a human. Everybody has the unique innovative spirit in it. If we could probably see, that's what I would feel like it's a DNI in a simple terms. There could be a lot meaning to it. You should see a life in it. You should see a brilliant idea in it. You should see and a great person within it. So that's all about DNA here.
Wow. Very beautifully explained in the most simplest words possible. Thank you for sharing that, Dhana. I would like to share with you that we have our audience joining in from all across the globe. We have Anil from Phoenix, and we have people from Taiwan, we have Bangalore, we have Hyderabad. So we have a great representation today. Welcome all. So to get started and to make it a little lighter, let's start with a rapid fire round. So are you cool with that?
Okay, you want me to put me in the spot? Okay, let's see how does it goes.
Sure. So we would really appreciate if you can give very short answers. I know these questions are topics of their own, but a few words, one or two sentences would be good. Sounds good?
Sounds great, but challenging to give one line answer. Let me best as possible.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you for playing along. So my first question is, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Interesting question. The answer is it's more a night person. The greatest discussion that I have with my wife and this is, me is probably allow me to sleep some more tight. So, as to say, I was requesting to mom before, now my wife. So the women's are top. I think they rule the world. Good.
Okay, great. That's very insightful. What do you prefer, books or podcast?
I'm more podcast guy. It started from the beginning days, when I was childhood days. I have to worth mention these three stalwarts. The first one, Balanguri John, few folks know, Sugi Sivam, right? And the last Tenkach goes Swaminathan. So there are stalwarts. So I started hearing this the podcast. That's how I've grown. Today also, I heard a lot of podcasts and like most of the folks over here, maybe the few say it. My wife reads book throughout the night, but if I read it one page, I get a good dose of. That's a
Oh,
podcast.
okay. So what is your favorite podcast so far?
Oh, okay. So there are many. Probably I'll just pick one to stop time. Take potato. So I listen to a lot of two things which I like. So one is the technical side, another thing is Lingit Blandat. So I said Tenkichiko Swaminathan. I just dive to his the short stories, very powerful stories. I love hearing it again and again.
Wow. Please let us know if somebody has also follows the same approach to watching podcasts. We love to hear more from you. So, Dhanal, tell us what is your favorite travel destination?
Okay, probably you will, maybe many of us may laugh, but my hometown is my travel destination. The feel like when I just touch my feet on my home ground, I feel like I was liberated. Okay.
Wow.
So I still walk to my school, where did my school age. I go to my playground. I used to play before my board exams. So the memories, right?
Oh, that's great. Wow. Yeah, I think hometown has such a powerful influence on us. We'll talk more about that in the coming section. And okay, so how do you unwind?
Okay. So I'm a very simple person. I cook biryanis. And when I get the compliment from my kids saying that I want some more, it excites me. So I cook to unwind. The second thing is I hang around with my family. So probably we just probably think so. Just probably like, and I want to be with them. I feel them. I want them to be felt. So I want to hang around. Right, that's the second step. Thirdly, I go down and play street cricket with the kids.
Street.
So that's a way of unwinding. And last but not the least, I do nothing. So it's basically you have to keep yourself like unoccupied. Probably mind has its own power of unwinding on its.
Beautiful. Yeah, you have a lot of therapeutic ways of unwinding. It's very good. And I love that you still go out and play street cricket with younger kids. Have you ever broken any glass and got scolded or you broke that glass pane?
Okay, good. We have a school nearby. So we've lost a lot of balls. Yeah, it have never been happened like, but childhood days, yes. We have been running where our aunt and uncles are like, chasing us. But at least now we lost a lot of ball. And see the greatness of that I see is I became a kid. For a moment, I just go in front of the security gate and I request for the ball, which get inside. So it bleed. So it's nostalgic. But I tried to do. You wanted to be a kid, so you have to do it. So finally, like, I'm not lucky broke at the case. The windows are glasses, but like, lost balls, go play, get this done. Yes, all those things I used to do.
It's beautiful, yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Dhana. That's very powerful. Okay, so which mobile app do you use the most?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, seriously?
Yeah, man. Okay, I tell most of the secrets people doesn't know. I rarely open WhatsApp. I spend time at least probably 10-15 minutes in a day on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the only platform like I started using it. Maybe the other social media platform, it's been a decade I have ever opened. So all my friends, professional networks, few people who inspired me are all in LinkedIn, to be very honest and fair. So I spend more time in LinkedIn than any other app. That's true.
But that's very powerful. Like I think LinkedIn, a lot of people share a lot of their experiences and knowledge here.
Yeah.
Whenever I open LinkedIn, I learn something. I connect to somebody and my network grows. I learn something and it's beautiful. Like sometimes I just write a whole message which I think I should improve upon and ask for help sometimes. And most of the times I get that help. It's a very positive and helpful community.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. But the kind of connections that we have, the learnings that we do, be it an industry update, or it could be like the students doing it, the open innovation which is happening in the semiconductor industry. Yeah, maybe a lot of revolution is happening around in the industry, and I'm glad that LinkedIn is one of the front-runner platform to know about it. So I'm strongly hooked into it. Yes.
So, what is the best career advice you have received?
Okay, the best career advice that I have received is probably, it also to an extent to others as well, invest in yours. That means a lot, probably than something else. Probably to start with, I have put more time in terms of educating myself. Most of the viewers over here take health for granted. Invest in your health, invest in your education. That's for yourself. And, invest in your soul, which is very important. So probably you may be intellectually great, but if you don't spend time with your families, right, teach and probably meditate or do yoga, do for something about your soul. And last but not the least, socialization. So the power of socialization is great. I'm still probably in, grown up in 90s. I wanted to hook up with a lot of people, talk about technical stuff. So the great advice that I've got is invest in yourself. And I do that in 3 ways, like in the self, soul, and socialize. Probably, if I have to share to others, that's what I feel everyone has to do.
That's very insightful. Thank you for sharing, Dhana. I think a lot of young folks forget that health, that their soul, that their mind are also something that needs attention. Thank you for sharing that powerful message.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so one last question. This is a very controversial question. That education or experience? What do you choose?
Experience is invaluable. Education is a foundation. Basically, if you wanted to thrive in the space, you need that thrust to get out of your atmosphere. Education is that. Education is going to get your foundation really strong. But the experience is what elevates you to the next level. So when I start, I've just probably given this introduction about being a kid. I have to probably this student, right? So Professor PBR, I studied in College of Engineering in the University. Thanks for him who was getting me introduced to what is VLSI, right? So who John Rabay is. And the stick diagram is, I'm very afraid of that. He taught me about probably the basics of it. It was a buzzword that time in VLSI. And getting enrolled the course of VLSI is like something you can just call it up and say, hey, it formed as a foundation really strong. I'll talk about an education later. I didn't really do well in my bachelor's. So although I was topper, the previous stuff, I didn't do well in my bachelor's. But it set me foundation strong because I was very clear, super clear about foundational concept. But when it comes to the industry, you have again multiple domains and sectors. You tend to focus on it, and you should probably expand your horizons in terms of technical knowledge. So you keep building on it. You get to know about probably what does it means to do an IP design. So the way that if you look at my career, I was starting in IP design. So from IPs to the SOCs, now I'm just responsible for SOCs across multiple segments, right? So the client, IoTs, devices. So you have to keep learning. So the experience is a great teacher. But if you don't have a strong fundamentals, you cannot excel it. So if you cannot reach out to your atmosphere, if you're stuck within your limitations, right, you cannot see the wonderful space and the beautiness around it. So education is fundamental. Experience takes you to the next level.
Wow. It couldn't have been put better. Thank you for sharing that. So, education is the booster, the starting point in our life. That's the foundation. And experience is the ultimate teacher.
Yes. And today I'm glad I'm associated with a lot of leading universities in US and as well as in India. A lot of academia and industry is working together to do something wonderful. Some of the things that I'm being really part of it, I think it's great. It's great time, I think, to invest in academias together. So which means I said you have the foundation and experience are coming together, you can see what magic that it could create. Yeah, things are getting left shifted drastically.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Okay,
So,
great.
but
I hope I didn't answer it in one line, but at least I should receive maybe your gift or something like the way the Karan Johar does. Okay, I hope you will send it offline.
definitely, Dhana, definitely. And thank you so much. Great nuggets of knowledge you have shared with us, and our audience is really liking and enjoying it. They have a ton of more questions. They're so excited that they're getting to know you and learn.
Sure.
So I think one of the most common questions that audience is asking is they want to know about how was it like growing up in Tamil Nadu for you, and how did you find a career in or how did actually semiconductors find you?
Thank you. Okay. Okay, good. I grew up in a town. Most of the folks, at least in Tamil Nadu, will know it's called as Pollachi. So it's supposed to be green land. It's mostly shooting place and stuff like that. It was a small town. Over there is great memories. Okay, I'm probably put it this way. I had a three phase in the life. The first phase is matriculation. I was really doing great. I was probably still tough, and due to my financial situation, I had to join back the government schools. But I felt it's a step back. Folks, that was the first lesson that I learned in my career. Sometimes when you go back, that's always something for the good. Why I say I was doing this rat racing stuff. Probably I was one among the top 5 good students. I started really excelling well, and it was still in the mystery. I don't know how. Right from my 6th standard, first examination, the final examination in my schooling, 10th standard SSLC, I am first in my class and I first in my school. So I felt probably from the matriculation due to my family background, I'm going back. But the confidence that I've got in myself, I would just say it's a cocoon. Everyone is an introvert. You have mentioned about introvert. I was an introvert. Every cocoon is breeding. It maybe the life cycle could be 5 days to 21 days. It could be more. You need a space to come out of it. That school education, government school, was that cocoon coming out of this butterfly movement. So great memories. And I used to be not a front bencher. I told you, I'm a school first student, but I'm a back bencher. I spend a lot of time up in the back bench. I enjoy having fun. We go in the morning, play cricket. So get into school, lunch, cricket. So school, evening, cricket. It was about fun game, cricket, then education. So that's about what I always try to think about it. And thanks to probably when I talk about cricket, I wanted to thank Krishnamoorthy and Sunil Gavaskar, Jeffrey Baika. Why? Because growing up in the town small, being that I'm confident that I could able to communicate really well, thanks to them. So they taught me English. So I used to speak English to myself. I do a commentary on my own. So that's how I learn my English skills. So lot of cherishable memories. I wanted to cherry pick this and share because there's a lot of viewers across the world. I wanted to share a key message, right? Secondly, you asked about how semiconductors. So it was an accident. Trust me, folks, there is another thing. I studied in College of Engineering, Guindy, which is supposed to be one of the topmost colleges, the best college in it. Growing up there, so you get a lot of IT companies come first. They do mass recruitment. I couldn't cut through. I couldn't cut through. And the semiconductor industry found me. So that's where I feel like my destiny. So I said I should thank for PBR, so who have installed the VLSI design conference. The second thing is, of course, my first organization. So probably who got me get into the VLSI industry. And thirdly, I wanted to do always something in the code. Maybe I should probably thank to myself that the inner belief that I had about me in successful about be it in academic or in professional life. It's something like semiconductor industry found me. It's not that I went ahead and we didn't add a great opportunity and luxury what most of the folks here have today. You have a great choice of choosing your career. I didn't add at the point in time.
That's so beautiful, Dhana. There have been a lot of powerful messages there. So first is that whenever in life due to situations, you have to take a step back. Don't be totally discouraged. Use this as an opportunity to learn and bounce back even.
Absolutely, absolutely. So be positive. That's what it is. You never know what's coming ahead. And if you have this open mind, I think the sky is the limit.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing. I believe when you were in that phase, how did you keep yourself motivated? Because I think self motivation is a bit hard when your circumstances are as per as you feel that you deserve. So how did you keep, like, I know that you practice your English by watching all these great cricket orators, speakers, and you were also sharpening your technical skills, and there was so much unpredictability. What will I do in career? And we are learning all these, we have great professors, and even when we're learning a few concepts scare us. How did you find that self motivation?
I want to be honest. I want to be honest here. Everyone goes through this self-depression in their own life. You would not be, remember the fact I always keep telling to myself, like, when the going gets tough, remember the tough gets going. And I put probably a, come on, it's just not because of that tough is going away. You are getting more tougher to handle the situation. Remember the fact, whenever that you go, I just keep saying this quote with all point in of time, like, whenever I go, right? Because I'm just getting prepared for something bigger. So the message that I want to probably share to the folks is this: you need to believe in your self instinct, and you have to get certain inspiration around it. I keep saying this word. Trust me, like I've said it probably a million times. So you have to probably stick and believe on it. And you should know a goal where you wanted to reach, like the way that Swami Vivekananda says, till your goal is reached, don't stop, be awake and keep pushing yourself. And you will probably go back. So that's where you need to be surrounded with the positive people. Who are they? Trust me, folks, your family comes first. Your friends come next. And thirdly, your exterior circle. Connect with them. Draw the positive energy from them. They will keep you motivated. So you will have a depression phase, after which you have to come out of it. I strongly believe that you need to have the self-motivation. Get hooked up with the positive people around you. They give that inspiration, which is countless. And I trust me, I could be probably principal engineer now, and I get demotivated a lot of times. My wife actually motivates me and sees the power of what I am. I'm married a little early in my life, and all my career growth, I just probably dedicate each and every success in my life to her. She believed in me, in what I am today, and which no one, even I, have never believed in. So the second thing, after your self-motivation, hooking around with the best people, the positive people, are far most important for your growth. And thirdly, don't wait for the opportunity. Create one. I'm a strong believer of it. And every chance that you have, be it yourself, opens up the doors of an opportunity. And then, of course, you're great because you're doing a lot of good work. What you're waiting for is just that one debut in your international match. If your technicals is cool, if your mind is cool, it's all about what you need is one great innings. And then people will call you. If you keep doing it, you call it as one day you start, you keep doing it, you become a legend. So what I wanted to just say is you need to have your self-belief, hooked up with your positive people, and don't wait for the opportunities. Create opportunities. So you're technically sound, your mind is clear, you will certainly rise as a star, and keep doing it consistently.
There were a lot of important messages there. So surround yourself with people who believe in you. Because even now, when you're trying to motivate yourself, you are trying to be in a positive mindset. Be around people who brings more positivity into your life, who believes in you, who will be there with you in the toughest times. That is the most important. Have that safety net. And I think two of the best messages that you have shared that have immensely helped me as your mentee is: one, keep on knocking on all the doors. Don't be tired till you find the answer, till you find the opportunity you're looking for. Keep knocking and keep asking, and the right door will open for you at the right time. There's something that is said in Hindi. It's like कि pressure से कोयला diamond बनता है. Sorry, मुझे याद नहीं है मुहावरा, but something like that. That all this pressure, all these testing times is going to convert you into a very rare diamond, and then you're going to bright. And it would be good if you share your light with the world, like Dhanai is sharing with all of us today. Thank you. Okay, so I think this is something I would love for you to share with the audience, right? In the starting of your journey as semiconductor professionals, I know things were not very easy, and you tell us about that journey and what did you learn from that, and how did you convert that challenge into opportunity?
Okay, the way that I internalize is that even if you got in the industry, you have to really navigate it. So, folks, most of the misconception that we have is my dad was saying this, right? That's how it is. Hey, get a white collar job, get into AC, your job is done. No, answer is not true. It's just probably the beginning of it. Your work begins there. You still need to find an opportunity to learn more. Maybe I just wanted to since it is an open forum, I wanted to inspire more folks. I strongly believe that a journey of my success is about how I really get inspired by knowing more people also understanding the story. At the beginning of my career, the opportunity doesn't come back. So there is a time which is called as we have to sit in a bench. There is no work. And I was asked to probably go to a different town for a job opportunity. And I said, I just got married early in the game. My family was there, and I have to shift to get my first job assignment done. I say it's not that easy. You keep looking for opportunity. If you have to take certain risks in terms of get a technical knowledge, go get it. So step number one is you need to keep within your career itself, within your organization. You need to look for point number one. So it's okay to take a risk, but as long as it's rewarding. Secondly, you need to probably sharpen yourself. The number two is about the scripting. I was talking to an engineer from the topmost university and the college in India, saying that, hey, I'm even hardware engineers. Why should I have to learn scripting? It's highly misconceived. Although we are in a tech industry, the scripting skill means a lot, right? Be it maybe coding in Verilog or to writing in Tickle script. Python, very powerful. It can do magic. Something people again you ask, I just drew ML Bug Group for the last couple of years for my art. So you need to keep honing your coding skills, which is something like people really undervalue. So the third thing, which is something like when you get into the industry, then once you probably go power management architectural piece of it, then people will talk about BOM, PCOS, then a lot of different stuff. So then you talk about the platform, take your core expertise, be great at it, and then expand your horizons. And your aim should be how you build your product. You keep learning. First one is look for an opportunity. Don't underestimate the scripting. Thirdly, I said probably you have to expand your knowledge horizons. Last but not the least, be your authentic self and network. You might be this was famous story which is there trending in all the LinkedIn. There was probably a watch or something, right? So it's been gifted to a daughter and she goes around the places, maybe a pawn shop. So the value is different. Probably when they have taken into some of those auction shop, probably you get the best price of it. So what I mean is you keep molding yourself, you network it so that at one Friday you will be identified as. So which means you will probably get an opportunity in terms of make a clear difference in your organization. So you network it, be your authentic self, right? If your true self is passionate or drive oriented, be that guy. If your true self is something you are really so technical guy, you wanted to keep innovating on the behaviors. I'm not saying it's wrong. Keep innovating it and then doing it and then be exposed. Come to the forums, the conferences. So share it. So you will be you are a gem. I'm already saying you're a gem. You just have to be identified it. So you have to do that. So you have to. These are the few things that I would just probably say which have really helped me grow in the career.
Very powerful, Dhana, and you have given many real life examples. I hope audience likes that. I think let's talk about physical design. A lot of audience, because physical design is so vast, there's so much going on there. And how do you once start viewing the career in physical design? So let me try to break it in. Okay, how to make a career in physical design, because it's huge. From where do you actually start, and how do we choose one particular domain? Like for me it was UPF, and I started learning that and started growing on it to the platform level, right? So how do they view different problems, and how do they choose which path will be best?
Okay, let me just probably tell one hardest answer, folks. Physical design is certainly vast space, and when you get a job, probably you will not work in all parts of it. Maybe I'll just give a very quick overview of what are the phases of the physical design an engineer or a job role will look like. Anything which comes from your design Verilog core, and whatever that you give your chip to your tape it. So this is the entire cycle is physical designs. So it starts with synthesis. So there are certain companies where they have only synthesis engineer do this logical synthesis, right? When we started in the early part. Once you do those logical synthesis, and then of course also it's a little grace between front end and back end. The UPF is another construct. Writing an SDC code in terms of that's probably another job. Then when it comes to physical design, there's something about tech file validation. So that's another stuff. Then you have a physical implementation phase. You use your tools to do an implementation. That's largely known as in PNR. Then it comes to timing, power, right? A formal verification or logical equivalence, or low power checks, a layout verification. And again, in the layout verification or in timing, there are many subdomains. It's vast. So one would, if they are starting in their career, what my humble suggestion would be is like, you should have a good purview of what is ASIC design flow is, what is physical design flow is. And it is not at the days when I started where you don't have an exposure. I see that even in online, in a lot of online learning platforms, right? And as well as part of LinkedIn community, there's a lot of people offering in good hands-on technical. That's a step one in terms of getting yourself dirty. Again, in the account of being honesty, those could be latest creating technology. But trust me, folks, I'm there in the industry for 15 years. The fundamentals that I have learned from the day one have never changed now. I've been probably like in 90 nanometer. Now probably in the greatest technology that is ever possible in the earth. I've been working on it. Fundamentals have never changed. So get your hands dirty, right? Be clear on your fundamentals and learn those technical concepts. And when you get into the industry, I said it's pretty vast. You will be narrowed down into one area. And I talked about as probably as an example, but you gave how do you probably expanded your domain? That's the risk. So to summary, you have to do know the basic knowledge. There's a lot of books available. The technical concepts, probably you get into industry probably in a single domain, do at its best, and then expand your technique. So that's what it is.
That's very absolutely bang on. Start from first. Be very clear with your fundamentals. Fundamentals do not change. Your fundamentals will always be the foundation of your career. Start from a particular domain that excites. Right. In the starting, there are multiple domains, and you don't know which one to do. So maybe you can focus on the breadth. Try to see what excites you. Once you have figured that out, drill into it. Go to the depth of it and become the domain champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, the great organizations allow you to explore everything. Probably, as I put my clear disclaimer, these are all my personal opinions. There is no role of Intel into it, right? So, or maybe there is no view, but still, I just wanted to say, like the great organizations like Intel, what can start in a career probably in a space of physical design. You can probably be an STA guy, and then that's timing analysis. You can just do even late verification, PNR, or the design lead, or even like Intel allows to switch domains to the front end and then the architectural space. So the organizations truly builds the career. And also, if you're given a choice, folks, like don't go behind the money, go behind an organization which builds your career, which will be truly fulfilling for you. Because I'm a strong believer that if you have a great technical capabilities, money follows you. If you follow your money, you will lose yourself, which is your technical, what you want to be accomplished technical person. So maybe it's just a thought process. So basically, wanted to say, good.
Yeah, Dana, if we can take one question very quickly, there is a very good question in the chat. Like, how do one person makes a domain switch? Let's say somebody who was working on FPGA and now that person wants to come to PD. So how do we make that?
Good question. Excellent question, folks. This is what I say. So this is what I suggest. Folks, if you're probably in salt water, just for an example, don't switch into fresh water, right? So what I mean by that, which means like if you are in a domain which is completely far away from what you don't know, if you switch over it, you will not probably be so successful in many ways. The first reason is when you start a career, probably you're a name. And when you just grow up in your career, you have responsibilities, your credibility. I told you about being in probably superstar to a legend. You have to be sustainable and repeatable, and there is so much of expectation. So if you want to switch domains, drastically this stuff, but you can always expand your horizons from a neighboring field. For example, an FPGA. By the way, I did FPGA for designing vanilla coding for Aldra, very beginning of the career too. So if you're probably like an FPGA guy, what you would be doing is your Verilog doesn't change, right? When you wanted to move into the A6 field, the Verilog coding is the fundamental, but the way that you write a construct for your FPGAs and as well as for A6 changes, and incremental learning associated. If you're probably an FPGA guy, and then you would be certainly trying to do and synthesis of it, which means coding to translating into the LUT components or whatever maybe the kind of architecture that you do. That is called as a synthesis portion. If you get into a synthesis domain, a perfect place. A structural design, of course, you go and really solve the routing condition problem, right? In FPGAs, that's one of the critical toughest problem. In physical design, there is also a condition space. So to begin with, you need to find a similarity of your neighboring domain and what you are doing it, and your learning should be incremental. And things goes on. Let's say you are getting into a synthesis. So synthesis was logical synthesis before. Now it's no more logical, it's physical synthesis. So one has to know very well about a placement constraints, which means how it has to be placed. So it probably one has to be a placement issue. So you get into an SD. When you go to an SD and then probably do a synthesis, about the timing is fundamental. I started in the 90s. So I started with a single SoC. Now I have a responsibility of doing certain stuff across the SoCs. So you have to expand with your own strength, do an incremental learning, and you don't do a drastic change. And in fact, it is difficult for you to sustain, but it is also difficult for you to get a job which is completely away from your own strength. Right? So that's my piece of suggestion.
I absolutely agree with you, Dhana. I believe even for your natural career progression and even the monetary side of it, it's always better to find it something that is more incremental to you. And so you have a lot of benefits that you are actually growing in your domain knowledge. That domain can be anything. That domain can be routing, that domain can be timing, but it's actually cross, right? You are not a PD expert or an FPGA expert. You are somebody who has cross domain knowledge, but your actual concept, your actual domain of knowledge is growing. So try to find something that overlaps with what you know. Try to find an overlap between what you know right now and what you wish to know, and whatever is in common, try to pursue that. That will offer you the least resistance path. I'm feeling so happy I could make that semiconductor pun.
Absolutely. You can even do more. For an example, I said the FPGA guy's example, when he just goes and probably does an RTL code, his way of thinking could be completely different. He gives a new perspectives. He could solve one of the toughest problems for the ASIC. So that's what I'm saying. You should utilize your core strength, and then when you expand it, people will start appreciating it. It is both rewarding for the organization and for us.
I think this podcast has become too much knowledge. Like, this is too much knowledge in this 1 hour of time. Thank you so much, Dhana. I'm learning so much, and I hope our audience has also learned a lot today. So, Dhana, one of the final questions, second last questions, we still have 9 minutes. What is your definition of being successful and happy?
Okay, tricky question, right? And I little bit answered to yourself, right? In one of the questions, it changes with respect to people to people. For me, as long as I get inspired by many folks, and I could probably inspire many other folks, that's my success. It's about a journey of learning and giving back. That's how we build a greater society, right? That's for myself. Why I say so is being a kid from a small town. And trust me, I'm going to share one of a very interesting fact that people doesn't know it, and maybe folks would laugh at us. I never knew the College of Engineering, that's supposed to be the best college of my times, existed till I go for counseling. And by the way, when I went into college, I know that there is something called as an IIT ever existed. People would probably find it. And we are recruiting, and I'm part of my team. There's a lot of IIT folks here. But point I wanted to say is, even with the limited knowledge, I have chosen engineering because of an uncle who was a junior engineer in Viscom, kind of an industry. So I said, I want to become an electrical engineer. So my uncle, who doesn't know me, have inspired to become an engineer. When I probably get into an industry, there is a person, he's a senior fellow in Texas Instruments. He's the only fellow at that point in time. Look up to him. Probably more than our directors, or like he's like in celebrity and an icon. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know me. He inspired me to be a technical leader of what I am today. And I say this like, openly. There's a couple of my mentors whom I just probably look around. Surya Prake and Anand Sundar Singh, technical style. One person is VP, the other person is like, he's a technical guru. So they are inspiring me. So the journey of me is not me. I have got inspired through many folks. And by the way, if I ask a question, if my uncle knows, hey, he did this job to inspire me, answer is no. Did Mahesh is doing it probably to inspire me, get into a technical leader? That he is trying to build an inspiration. Be your authentic yourself and show the world, right, what you are, what the technology means is. The technical knowledge can, inspire things. Be that person so that the rest of the world get inspired and they do magical. You never know what comes out of it. It's like a Sachin. I started, playing, by the way, for controversy, I like brain ladder. So that's a different topic though. They have inspired me to play cricket. Right? So I don't want success to be as like, probably I want to be getting inspired more. I'm getting inspired by you, Kritika, because I'm not doing so much in the social cause. The truth is there. I'm doing it, as I said, in the probably the LinkedIn platform is the most powerful platform. I've never used it. You are inspiring me to do that. It's a journey of getting inspired and be inspired. Number two, very important, if my family says I'm a good son, if probably my wife says, okay, fine, I'm a decent husband, getting a good husband stuff, probably a decent husband, if I get it. And my son says, probably, I'm a good dad. What else I need? My thing is, I want to get inspired. I want to inspire others. My family feels like I am part of them. I love them. In turn, they see I am a part of them, right? There's a difference between the physical presence and being part of them. I want to keep doing it as much as possible. That's what I call it as success.
I believe after talking to you, I have got more understanding. So your success is not only at work. Success is your family. Success is your social front as well. So you have to feel that you have contributing your whole self, your authentic self to every work of.
Yes, absolutely. Kritika, if let's say you go behind money, it's great, but the first package that I've got, probably where I am today, will be good. If you go behind money, you will never be happy, and that's temporary. But you go behind love, you go behind probably inspiring others, you will be so satisfied. And you can do it in your professional life, you can do it in your personal life, in every action that you do.
People may feel, a few younger folks, that this is some gyan we get everywhere, but whatever you are sharing is coming from your own personal experience, and you have walked through every high and low in your career, personal life, and whatever you were saying is genuinely from your heart, from your own experience, and you have really bared out everything. I don't feel that you tried to you tried to be anything else. So everything is out there in the open, and I know I'm super motivated and charged up after talking today. There's so much more to do, and I'm so excited that I got to talk to you and share all this knowledge, these nuggets of knowledge with everyone who joined us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. My pleasure, Tika. Right. As I said, now I want to conclude, if at all, the chance, two things from my side. Then I'll leave to you for the closing comments. Kritika, the first thing is a disclaimer. This is all for my personal opinion, folks. This is not opinionated by Intel Corporation or the organization that I belong to. I feel this is an important duty of share my experience with the folks so that it will probably inspire you. As I said, my journey is an inspiration of all stalwarts, right? Celebrities in the technical industry have shaped me this. So it just didn't start off that cause. So that's the first point. And the last couple of things, like probably this again, my favorite, from Tirukural, couple of sayings for you. I'm not going to translate it. I hope this is recorded. You go find on YouTube and then I can share it. Two things. The first one I want to start with this. The second one is Perumai Muyachidar. So with that note, thanks for the great opportunity, Kritika, and wish you all good luck. And thank you all for joining this Sunday 11. I know that there's the time to spend with the family, and I'm sure that I have really inspired you in one or the other way in your life to do really great things.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dhana. And I think it's time to wrap up as we are about to run out of time. Thank you so much for sharing all the valuable knowledge, valuable information, and nuggets of information that comes directly from your experience, from your heart. You have been your most authentic self here. We did not pretend, we did not shy away from asking any questions. Everything was out there, and there is so much to learn from it.
Okay, first of all, thanks, honored, humble, great to inspire minds. And if you wake me in mid of the night, I'm glad to inspire more folks, because the important thing is we are at the great inflection point of becoming semiconductor. A great opportunity and of course a big responsibility for us. I'm so glad that I'm doing this with you, a great initiative, and be part of your inspiring story and maybe a droplet in the ocean.
Thank you so much, Dhana. Thank you for those words. So that's all for today. Thank you all.